Hey guys, what's up? Here it is. The new Destro comic just came out yesterday. Totally excited. We're going to do an awesome review today. So watch this episode. And as always, if you like and subscribe and write a comment, you will be eligible to receive a free copy that I'll put in the mail directly to you. We just did it for Scarlet. We're doing it again for Destro. So make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. And let's do the review. Let's go. Welcome back, guys. All right, today's the day of the review of the new Destro. This just came out yesterday. I went and got it yesterday. I got the first day. I actually got two variant copies of the front. I got of course, the first one, cover A. And I was able to get cover B as well. So super excited to go ahead and review this. First off, who is in it? I got some guys laid out. Of course, I have all my different Destros. I just love this Destro. Action figure is awesome. I got the Mezco Destro. I got the Retro Classified. And of course, I got the Profiteer, which I just got actually this weekend. It's awesome. I even have a couple more Destros of Classified. Back here, I got a 25th anniversary. As you can tell, I'm a huge Destro fan. I'm a Cobra guy. That's who I love. I actually love the Cobra guys more than the G.I. Joe guys. I do. I love Zartan. I love Destro. I love the Baroness. I go on and on and on about all the different Cobra guys I love. So this, I have been anxiously waiting for. More so than any other one. More so than Duke. More so than Cobra Commander. More so than Scarlet. This is the number one I've been waiting for. Scarlet would have to be second, and then probably Duke, and then probably Cobra Commander in that order. So needless to say, let's dive into it because I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. So first off, great cover. I will be honest with you and say that I like cover B more, which is why I got it. That one's awesome. I'm a big fan of the others as well. I think C is awesome. Very menacing look from Destro there in C. Just a lot of them. You should take a look yourself. I did see the blank one as well, so I thought that was pretty cool as well. So yeah, got all that going on. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. As always, let's start off with a awesome cover page of Destro, giving the who wrote it, the artist, etc., etc. All right, so what is this all about? Well, it starts off with a insurgents where they go in and they take over the palace, where they come in, and of course it's led by the Bats, and Destro leads the Bats, and they come in, and it's pretty awesome. They come flying in from a helicopter, and they have the Bats going full force. This is a huge part of the Energon Universe that they're creating. And so, of course, the Bats come in, they take out all the regular soldiers that are trying to protect the palace. Just an awesome scene here. I'll show you guys a close-up, but it is just an awesome scene of the Bats coming out of the helicopter. It's probably my favorite page in the whole comic. But it's just really well done because the authoritarian leader says, all my people love me, you will see. And then Destro, once he gets in and he takes over the palace, he's like, well, maybe we should let you free and see how the people actually treat you. And of course, he knows that they wouldn't treat him well. And of course, he takes his own life, which is, again, a great scene about how Destro comes in command. And actually, he puts his cousin in control. And his cousin's name, Artyom Darklon. He's the one that comes in, and he's the one that actually takes over and sits in the prime minister's chair. So from that point on, here's the interesting part, right? And this, of course, goes back to Cobra Commander's issues. So Destro doesn't want to be a subordinate to Cobra Commander. He wants to be on the same level. So, of course, Cobra Commander is communicating with Destro, and he's trying to say, listen, we wanted to build up Cobra. We want to do this between us and keep it low profile. Now that you've gone in and taken over this palace and taken over, had this insurgents where we've taken over the government, now international eyes are on us, and Destro doesn't like to hear that. He then says this is about the Bats and how the Bats need to be, they need to go through practice, or they need to go through war in order to train themselves and be ready, and Destro says they're not ready yet. So then a really awesome scene, which I really like, Destro ends up in the Scottish Highlands. And he goes up there, and you can see that he's talking to these one ancestors, and he's trying to figure out, because he is in charge of Mars, right? MARS. And that's his organization, and he's talking about how Cobra Commander, he can tell that Cobra Commander wants Mars to be a part of Cobra. And Destro wants Mars to be separate than Cobra. He is willing to help, kind of like mercenaries, to help Cobra, but he does not want to be a subordinate under Cobra Commander. So this is, I think, setting up a really great kind of internal battle, which has always been there, right? Even going back to the 80s. Like, you've always had Cobra Commander and Destro. They both want the control, the power. Who's going to get that power? So this is setting all that up. And I think it's doing it really well about who's going to be in charge. And of course, Cobra Commander has always kind of been, but Destro, you can tell, always wants it. And probably, in my opinion, would do a much better job. I've always been a fan. So then all of a sudden they go to Dark Lona, which is where this is being held, and this is where the palace got overtaken with Dark Lona. And so they talk to the CEO, Miss Carlton Ritz. She is at this arms fair where they actually go and they can look at different weaponry and buy them. And so she's really fascinated by this. And of course, Destro's cousin is the one that's running this. So of course, this is not going public. This is more like, as he says, like he tells them that they're going to look at stuff that may or may not be existing, right? So it's pretty awesome. And she's kind of like just enamored with all this weaponry, with all these tanks, with everything that is going on. And so what happens from there? Well, then all of a sudden, like Destro comes in and starts talking to Miss Ritz-Carlton, and he finds out that Extensive Enterprises is not there. At this point, we're like, who is Extensive Enterprises, right? And of course, we know, as we find out a little bit later when they bring him in. And so the people at the weapons fair, they talk about these robotic army that Destro's created, but of course Destro plays off like, oh no, I haven't done that. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course, he's talking about the army of bats that he's created, and it's all about profit to him. He wants to gain profit. That's why he tells Cobra Commander. So then before you know it, we're in South America, and now we have the Crimson Twins. Two of my favorite. Oh my God, going back to the 80s, I've always loved the Crimson Twins. I loved them in the cartoon, how they would just finish each other's sentences and everything. They've always been two of my favorite. Like I said, I'm a Cobra guy. There's not many guys in Cobra I don't like. I even like Major Blood. I could go on and on. So anyway, the Crimson Twins are in charge. So Zamat and Tomax are in charge of the Extensive Enterprises, which is made up of a army, not of bats, but instead of Crimson Guards. So of actually real humans. So this is a scene that shows about how they are kind of taking out this battalion with 20% casualties, and they take out the command leader, the field commander as well, because he wasn't really listening to them. And then before you know it, there are drones that are coming in. So then we're going back to where Destro is, back at the palace. And then there's drones coming in, and Destro's like, what's going on? And these drones are attacking his palace that he just took over. And he's kind of freaking out about this. And I believe that you can tell that it is a Crimson Guard that is doing this. And so he runs and he saves Miss Carlton Ritz as well, because she was, again, it's kind of a weird scene, but she's kind of like enamored by the explosions and the missiles and everything going on. So he rescues her, he throws her down so that she wouldn't get hit by missiles. And that's where we leave it. And of course, there's a dud one. My guess is on the dud one, it's going to say who was responsible for the attack. And then we're going to go from there. And that's where we leave it off with to be continued. Overall, awesome. Like, just awesome. I know I'm biased. I'm a big Destro guy. I'm a big Cobra guy. but I think it was just really well done. There wasn't, I just really like how this is building up. One of the things I always like at the end to read very thoroughly is the writer and what he or she said about writing this. And this guy is awesome because he said he grew up in the UK and he didn't have G.I. Joe growing up. So instead, he talks about how they had Action Man and it was a much lower tier version of G.I. Joe. It's actually really interesting the way he plays it. But he said, he goes, hey, they came to me and they wanted a maniacal, sociopathic person, going to Destro, of course, referring to Destro, and how they wanted to create a comic about him. And he took on this challenge and how he's really excited and how it's really, he calls it an origin story. And of course, it's not how Destro became to be Destro, but more important about how Destro is going to fit into this new world of the Energon Universe. So I love it. I love this Dan Waters guy. I love what he's done. I highly recommend this comic. I recommend it more than Scarlet, more than Duke, more than Cobra Commander. I know I'm biased, but it was pretty awesome. I am chomping at the bit for issue 2 to come out. I may even go get the other variants. I'm just that big of a fan. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Go get this. I give it an A+. Solid A+. I mean it, sincerely. It was absolutely awesome. Hey, yo Joe.